So maybe you decided that you weren't making enough money, or you're just bored of having fun and you want to go do a little bit of gathering. The last little part's a joke. Gathering can be enjoyable, but it's a little bit more of a slow part of the game. However, it can make you some of the big bucks, baby. And this video is all going to be about just the information you will need, or that you might want to just dip your toes into. That might make you a little bit better gatherer, or just to make you safe when you go into the red or black zone. I'm Oxidized, and let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is where should you be gathering? I'm not talking red, blue, yellow, black zones. We'll get into that later, but there's different biomes in this game, and according to what biome you're in, the resources there will be a lot more abundant per se. So I recommend, even if you're not a huge gatherer, maybe there's a certain material you do like, or something, excuse me, or a material that you would see yourself gathering in the future. In my opinion, you should choose whatever major city you want to kind of base yourself in based on that kind of material. I chose Thetford because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do fibers. Okay, so the reason you choose Thetford is because in Thetford it's a swamp area. You can see it's kind of like a really gross looking green, brownish, yellow kind of all mixture, and then a whole bunch of wetlands and stuff like this. So if you go to the Albion wiki, it tells you a little bit more about it, but I have it all right here, so just bear with me. In the swamp, your highest yield, or the most abundant resource there, is fiber, followed by wood. Coming over into Martlock, which is your highland area, it's stone as your primary and ore as your secondary. Moving over to Bridgewatch, this is the steppe area. Hide is your primary with fiber as your secondary. We have Lympthurst, which is your forest area, and here you're gonna have wood as your primary, hide as your secondary, and then finally Fort Sterling, the mountainous area, with ore as your primary and stone as your secondary. Now this doesn't just stop here in the mainland. You know, in the red zone's the same way, because you see how the swamp kind of goes into the red zone a bit here, the mountain over here, forest, so on and so forth. But also when you look into the black zone here, you see the different biomes, and the different biomes are what you think it is. So this is all swampland, so you would imagine that there's gonna be a lot more fiber here than there would in maybe this mountainous area over here. And luckily, whatever main city you're at, usually the black zone of that city will share the same biome, at least in the initial spot. So this is the Thetford portals. You see how these are all swamp too? So it kind of allows you to jump right on into it when you choose the correct starting area. Okay, another very important step into making sure you're ready to gather is the gathering gear. So here in my inventory, I have on what I would consider the gathering gear that you would want to use anytime you go out for gathering. And you might be asking, well, why would I want to use gathering gear? What if someone, well, let's say I'm in a red zone, I'm in a black zone, and someone's gonna come and try to gank me. Would I want a little bit more defense or a little bit more escapability power? Well, the beauty about gathering gear is that they are designed to be, you know, purely escaping type gear, also while increasing your yield potential and your gathering resources. Here's what I mean. So there's 4 pieces of gear. You have your cap, garb, work boots, and then backpack. Every single resource has these. The backpack itself only increases or it decreases the weight of your fiber by 30%. I think it goes up based on the tier. This will allow you to carry more. Whereas in the cap, garb, and work boots, they actually have abilities. Yeah, they have abilities. It's a little bit crazy to me. I didn't know that when I was first getting into gathering. I was thinking the same thing I told you in the beginning. Why would I take this low testosterone armor to a red zone and just get ganked immediately? I've actually survived quite a few ganks because of these abilities. Now, as to which ability you should choose, I'm not 100% sure what's the most optimal, but what I've used and what has worked time and time again I would say that, okay, time and time again makes it sound like I've been doing this for years. I've probably been ganked maybe 3 times. I was able to get away every single time using this setup here. Now, does that mean they were very good gankers? Does that mean I'm good at what I do? I don't know those, but here, let me give you the reasons why I choose the abilities that I choose here. So on the cap, I choose the cleanse ability, removes all debuffs and movement impairing effects on you and allies in close proximity. This means stuns and roots and stuff like that. You get rid of them, you get to keep going. Yeah. And then on the harvester garb, this one's kind of interesting. You can go ambush, which turns you invisible, allows you to kind of run away while you're invisible. You have something that can heal you. I really liked wind wall. So it's 4 seconds, and if someone's running after you, and let's say they use their movement ability, you wind wall them, slows them down, makes them use up their movement ability, and now you can run away. Hopefully, maybe you can even mount up, or maybe you get to a safe zone. And then finally, I really like Ethereal Path here. Ethereal Path allows you to go immune, and then go invisible, excuse me, and then you have a huge movement speed increase as well, and you can get out of town. Also following that is your sickle or your gathering equipment of choice here. Let's go to the gathering here. So yeah, you have your sickle, your knife, pickaxe, the axe, and the stone hammer, brother. And they all do okay, so I guess technically they all kind of do a few different things here when it comes to the different abilities, but not really. I mean, as you can see here, instead of having the invisibility, the lumberjacks, they get the sprint shield, whereas maybe the miners here, they get the flee. But it seems to be everything else has a pretty similar grab, maybe a couple different effects here and there. Again, I'm not an expert on the abilities, I just showed you what I know. You might be saying, well, you can get the sickle, or you can get the Avalonian sickle, and same for all of them. There's also Avalonian pickaxes and normal pickaxes. Well, I don't recommend getting the Avalonian stuff, and let me show you why. So we can use me as an example. I'm using a tier 5 normal sickle. Nothing special about it. The only thing it allows me to do is pick up tier 5 and tier 6 fibers. There's no bonus. Let's go to an Avalonian sickle. Oh my gosh, it's already up. How did that? What? Look. Okay, so same physical damage, but you get this right here. Increase your gathering yield by 12.5%. 12.5%. Why would you not take that? Well, I don't know if you saw the price. 750,000 silver for one of these things. Let's say you're in the red zone. Let's say you're in the black zone and you get ganked. You lose it, brother. So it's not worth it. It's maybe it might save you an hour and leveling up or something like that. You know, that's a very bold statement. I don't know what the time save would be on money or leveling up, faming, and stuff like that. But for 750,000 silver, do you think the 12.5% yield's worth it? Hell, let's go to tier 6. Oh look, 1.5 mil, you know, and then tier 7. Or you can go to sickle here. Let's see what a normal sickle costs. 10 grand. You know what I mean? So be cautious about it. And then the last part, or the last couple parts on the stuff you need for your gear. One, bring whatever weapon you want to bring. I'm a broadsword master. Okay, master. I have a specialization in broadsword, so I'm bringing this. That's because you want to be able to kill some PvE mobs that are near some of the resources, so they don't bother you, or so you're able to actually get your resources. You also want to bring pork pie. Well, not pork pie specifically, but pies in general. Just get a pork pie. They're relatively cheap. Let's see how cheap they are. Pork pie. This is a tier 7 pie. Yeah, so one pie is 4.3k. The reason you want to grab these is because of this right here. It increases your yield by 15% and your load capacity by 30%. Now when it says increase yield by 15%, when you start gathering, you might not notice the yield at first. I think it's just kind of random because it is only a 15% increase, and certain math doesn't work out. When you're only like getting maybe 2 fibers per like grab, you might only get like an extra fiber when you do it every 15% of the time, if that makes sense. That's the best way I can explain that, I think. And then finally, mount choice. So in previous videos, I've explained that you shouldn't use an ox while gathering. And you might ask, why is that? Well, oxes are very slow and they're not really good for going from what's it called, node to node, or if you're trying to escape, you're definitely going to get caught on an ox. But I want to go into some of the stats. I personally like to use a boar, but another very good choice is a horse or even a stag. I really haven't used stags, but I've been told you can use a stag, but there's no need to get bougie about it. Just use a horse at that point. So why would you want to use an ox over a boar, over a horse, over an armored horse? Good question. So let's start with an ox. Why would you want to use an ox? Well, first off, for gathering, you don't want to. Transport oxes are exactly for that. They're for transporting, going from one city to another, gathering. You know, maybe you gathered a ton of resources in this city, but they sell for cheaper in another. That's when you grab the transport ox or your transport mammoth, and then you mosey on along. Don't use it for gathering. Let's go over to why would you want to use, how about why use a boar? So I like using a boar because it does give you the maximum carry load. It's quite a bit, 821 kilograms, whereas like the horse, you don't even get the extra. You don't get the maximum carry load buff. There's the movement hit points are 840, or the mount hit points are 845. The move speed bonus is 70%. It has armor, it has magical resistance, it has gallop speed. When you look at the ox, move speed 40%, gallop movement speed 80%. So you are going to be able to get to node a lot quicker. If you wanted to bring this into the red zone, you could. It's pretty expensive, so you might be worried about losing it. However, you do have a little bit of security with all the different movement speeds and armor bonuses and stuff like that. But I'll get into red and black zone tips later on. Finally, you have your horses. A riding horse. So you're only going to get a little bit of a carry load, and of course, the higher tiers, the more carry load you'll get per horse. But the movement speed bonus 65%, gallop movement speed 100%. It's a very cheap horse. This is the kind of mount you bring into your black zones and your red zones when you're not really worried about maybe making it out alive, but it's more for the fame farming aspect of it. Also with the armored horse, same reasoning of the horse. You want to take this into a place where you have the speed, and a tier 6 armored horse is cheaper than a boar. I think. Well, let's go see. Let's go see real quick. You know what? How about tier 6 armored horse? It's 100,000. Go tier 5 boar, and it's going to be a mount. You're looking at 500,000. So maybe you don't want to bring in your saddled wild boar into a black or red zone. Red zone maybe, because you have a lot of like easy. If you can make it to the next zone, you can escape that zone pretty easily. But that's up to you if you want to make that chance. Whereas you could easily bring in an armored horse. Maybe you die and you only lose 100,000 versus 500,000. However, the downside is you don't have that carry capacity increase. But trust me when I say that you don't really need a ton of carrying capacity, because you will, especially if you're in a red and a black zone, because you will want to leave that area sooner, or go sell it when you have a certain amount, so on and so forth. All right, guys, this is the part of the video where I talk about red and black zone gathering and just some general tips for the areas. I'm about to get into a red zone now, so I'm going to show you what I would normally look for, what I would do when I go into a red zone, and then go from there actually. So first and foremost, notice a couple of things. One thing really, I'm using my armored horse. Okay, I'm not using an ox. I'm not going to use my expensive my saddled boar. I'm going to use a nice, easy, just clean, very, very high testosterone armored horse, because of the armor and the ability to escape. If everything goes to shit, then I just lose 100 grand, which sounds worse than what it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. So first and foremost, I'm going to look at one thing. How many hostile players are in the area? Right now there says there's 10. There's 10 hostile units here. So what does that mean? Well, I do know a couple of things in this area. If you look down here, there's a little red mark here. That means it's where some fighting's happening. And the reason it's fighting here is because there's a lot of there's a Hellgate here. So it's a 5v5 Hellgate. So that explains why there's 10 baddies here. There's also these guys right here. You see how they're all purple flagged? That means they're about to start doing like a faction war. It might happen here, it might not. When you see the numbers being so high, you have to ask yourself, should I be in this area? Is it worth the risk? And right now, I know that the Hellgate's happening and there's like a faction war going on. So the ganking is probably not after the normal gatherer. So I'm gonna continue gathering. Now, with that being said, I should be cautious about it. So what I'm gonna do is like, okay, look, I'm gonna look for high priority nodes. Why is this a high priority? Because it's an enchanted node. I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. All right. You know, I could grab the tier 4 stuff, but you know, I would rather, you want to be on your mount as much as possible when you're in these areas, unless there's 0 or now there's 1, right? So maybe I can be more relaxed because maybe I'm not going to get ganked now. I have a lower chance of getting ganked. So I got that. I'm going to go find me another node here. Let's see. Oh, well, that one's already taken. And it's unfortunate when things are taken like that, just because, you know, they're some I don't know what I'm trying to get at here. Sometimes when you're trying to gather, you'll notice that a lot of your nodes are taken. It's just, you know, go to a new area because it's just, you know, a lot of people are trying to do the same thing. Now right here, there's a lot of good stuff right here. There's also these guys here that you can kill, but I'm gonna get that a little bit later into the video. I'm also gonna take this tier 4 stuff as well. And you see what I mean? And like now I'm back on my horse, right? Or and there's another one right here. Even if I could like run to this little tier 4 node right here, I'm still gonna go get on my horse and go to it. Why? Because you want to be right next to your mount as much as possible. That way you stay vigilant. You see if there's anybody coming, you jump on in. Because if you didn't know this, when you come off your horse, you get to keep. So I'm at a 6% carrying capacity right now. If you look at this, as long as you're in this circle, a couple of things happen. One, you get to keep the carrying capacity of your mount, even if you're not on your mount. But as soon as you leave, you lose it. Okay, so boom. Well, that's embarrassing. It's not showing it, but maybe it hasn't updated yet. It should be showing that it it's because it's a horse mount, so it doesn't give you any bonus to carrying capacity. However, notice, look how long this takes to get your mount up, right? It took some time. Now, if you're in this circle and your mount isn't despawned, look how quick that is. So it's still important whether or not you have the mount, the actual mount carrying capacity buff or not, to stay in this circle when you're doing your especially when you're in red zone, when you're in the red zone. I'm gonna head over to the black zone now to give you a couple of tips on that as well, so I'll be there in a second. There's not much more to go over into the black zones really. There's still quite I mean, I don't know, there's enough that I wanted to be there to show you, but I got ganked twice going into, and I'm like, you know what, I can do this on the map and explain it the best I can. So in the black zone, much like the red zone, it's full loot PvP. It's very scary, and you have to worry about getting ganked, especially if you want to do something in oh, where is it? In Martlock territory. You got to be very careful over here. But you know, anywhere in the black zone, you have these guild hideouts everywhere, and typically when you're in these sections, that guild, depending on the guild, might be very, very gank heavy. Very, very just feeding on the prey. Some of them are also very like anal and protective with the resources in their node. So you got to be careful when you come to the black zones. So what I recommend, there's a couple things I recommend. First off, get you a guild that's within the gathering area you want to be in. So in Thetford, if I was a smart man, I would probably try to join Surf or Tidal, just because, you know, there's quite a bit. No, that's not them. They have presence in this area, so you would feel a little bit more safe if you join that guild, and you can have access to their hideouts. And without getting into details, hideouts are like mini cities for your guild. They have a bank, a marketplace, a repair shop, and a couple of other things as well. But you're able to let's say I was in Tidal, I was in Surf here. I could do my gathering out here instead of having to run all the way back to the portal. I can come right here, store my resources, and get back out there and get gathering again. This is different from guild to guild, but most guild hideouts work this way. And you might be like, well, can I sell my stuff at the marketplace there? Yes, you can. Do I recommend doing that? No, I don't. Unless your guild is just massive and always using that hideout marketplace. What I recommend you do is you do your gathering, you put it into the oh yeah, there we go. So you do your gathering all the way around here, you put it into this hideout right here, and you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. At the end of the day, just so you're done doing your gathering, you didn't get ganked, and you have a whole bunch of resources right here. When you think it's safe enough, or maybe you can get a guild member to help you, you grab a transport ox, and then you load up all the stuff you collected, mosey your way on over to this to the portal, and then sell it onto the here we go. You know, sell it at the Thetford marketplace where it's more likely to be bought from, you know. With that being said, let's say you're not a guild person, or maybe you're not in a guild. Me personally, I'm in between guilds because I don't need one. I'm a strong, independent, high testosterone individual that doesn't need no guild. All right, so instead, there's Outland banks, these right here. So, all right, Outland's bank. Aching back from lugging around resources and loot, visit an Outland's bank, your one-stop storage solution. Pay once for a given bank and use it forever. So I actually own one. I think I own, which one do I own here? I think it is this one. No, it's not that one. Hold on. Let me find it. Now it's a personal thing. I own one right here, which is a ballsy move because I have been ganked in this area quite a bit, but whatever. So, but that means that, you know, that means I could gather resources here, gather resources here, gather resources here, and then come back to this node, deposit in that bank, and then go about my day. That way I have some central zone where I can deposit my materials and then continue on. Now, of course, being it right here, you risk getting ganked trying to go from here to here. But in my opinion, all I have to do is make it from here to there, and then once I'm in here, from here to there, and then here, there's like a little invisible buff from there to there. So this is free money. Like, I'm not gonna get attacked here, basically. So it's really not that far of a grab. And anywhere in the black zone, you'll be able to get your tier 7, tier 8, tier 6, tier 5, tier 4. I mean, all of the resources you can think of are in the black zones, but only tier 7 and tier 8 resources are in black zones. And I'm not really sure. I think you might have to go up to like the tier 7. I know this for a fact. You have to go up to the tier 7 zones to start seeing that tier 7 stuff. Well, I think in tier 6 as well, but in tier 7 mainly, and even in tier 8. You can find a tier 8 area. Tier 7. There's not very many tier 8 areas. Hold on. See, the tier 8 area. This is where you're gonna start seeing your big high money resources. But look how far away this is. Once you get to tier 7 and tier 8, you almost have to have like a guild or an Outland bank, or just be very good at dodging ganks, basically. All right, guys, this is the miscellaneous tips part of gathering, and I'm just gonna go through a few things that I've already gone through for the rest of the video, but maybe you skipped to this part. You're like, I get the rest of it, but what do you have to say in the miscellaneous section? Well, nice and easy. First and foremost, I would say, let's say right now I'm using a tier 5 sickle. I wouldn't want to use any type of I wouldn't want to gather anything above a tier 5, mainly because it will take way too long to gather. And if you're in like the red zone or the black zone, you don't want to be off your mount that long. Okay, but this is tier 4. So tier 4 enchantment once. I'm going to gather this. It's going to give me fame. It's going to give me a really quick resources as well. Now, on the same vein as quick resources, I believe maybe not skinning, but every single gathering other than skinning, I suppose, has these PvE mobs that you can kill. And when you kill them, they'll actually drop a node of whatever tier they are. So you see these are blue, so these are tier 5 enemies. What they're gonna do, they're gonna drop a whole node. And the reason you want to do this is that these nodes, they're faster. Look how fast this is going right now. So this is much faster than a normal tier 5 gathering node. So you want to kill these guys when it makes sense, or if you have the time, or if you don't feel like you're gonna die from a gank. Now this red one you see here, it's hard to see. This red one you see here is a tier 6 node. Look how long it takes me using a tier 5 sickle. Ages, right? So what's this doing? Why is this a bad idea? Like I said, it leaves you open for being ganked, and leaves you open for or it slows down your production in general. So it's not really a great idea to do it. I mean, you can if you have the time, but generally you can stay away from it. And that's it, guys. That's everything I know about gathering. I just splooged all the information on you. I hope you can absorb it. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully this helps you on deciding where you want to start setting up shop, where you want to start gathering resources and stuff like that. Pro tip also, look at the prices of the resource you want to gather. I didn't, so I just went with fiber because that's just kind of what I just gravitated towards. But I believe stone, I think it's making some pretty big bank right now. But that's just a recommendation. You should gather whatever you think is the most fun. Skinning is a tough one to get into because it's slow, in my opinion, because you have to kill everything you skin, which takes out a lot of time. However, you're able to gain combat fame doing so. So it's kind of a balancing act. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of everything. The channel's doing really well. I appreciate all you guys stopping by, and I hope this guide helps out a lot. So see you later, guys, and bye bye.